What a game we have Thursday night. Lambeau Field, my favorite stadium. It's the Green Bay Packers at home against the Washington Commanders. Two of the top teams in the NFC on a short week. There's a lot on the line. This is going to be a good one. This Packers-Commanders preview is presented by Game Time. The NFL is back. Tailgating, packed stands, and that buzz right before kickoff. But getting into the games, nightmare. Long lines, price jumps, getting logged out at mid-click. All you want is to be there, beer in hand, enjoying the game. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets in just a few taps. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. I was looking at tickets for next week's Buccaneers game, and I saw an amazing Game Time deal for great seats. Only $99. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code Gruden for $20 off. Gruden. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket. Download the Game Time app today. Okay, this week's Top of Mind is brought to you by Chevrolet. Football season is here, and whether you're grinding through the week or gearing up for kickoff, there's one ride that's always game ready, the Chevy Silverado. Built for the hustle, ready for the game. Silverado is America's most dependable full-size truck. Head to Chevy.com to learn more and build your own Chevy Silverado. All right, the Green Bay Packers, Washington Commanders, top of mind. There's a lot to unpack in this ball game. Two teams are 1-0. Head coach Matt LaFleur, an offensive head coach, my kind of guy, against Dan Quinn of the Commanders, a defensive coach. So there's a lot of rivalries and strategies that go into that point alone. But the Packers are coming off a very impressive 27-13 win against the Detroit Lions. I mean, they shut down last year's #1 offense. Detroit couldn't get anything going. Very impressive, and they had a lot of splash plays. This Packer defense had 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, and they played outstanding in the red zone against Jared Goff and company. And the Washington Commanders, they had a convincing home victory as well. They beat the New York Giants 21-6. Jaden Daniels, their star quarterback, threw for 233 yards, but he wasn't the story. It was his Commander defense. They have bulked up the defensive line to be much better against the run, and they stuffed the New York Giants in a convincing victory. The Green Bay Packers have not started 2-0 since 2020. That was Matt LaFleur's second season in Green Bay. The Packers went on to go 13-3, and they went to the NFC Championship game that year. I think Green Bay, if they can go 2-0 with back-to-back home victories against Detroit and Washington, I think it sets the tone for a special season in Green Bay. And the Commanders, they're led by Dan Quinn, one of the more aggressive head coaches. Remember last year, Quinn went for it 23 times on 4th down, and they made 20. 87% is an NFL record on 4th down. I think anything goes with Dan Quinn. He has the guts to go for it in any situation. Let's just zoom in on Thursday night football. Should we, Jake? Should we, Clay?
Yes.
Let's do it. You know, I never liked Thursday night football. I never liked playing on Thursday. Playing on Sunday and then on Thursday's tough. But what really bothers me is it's early in the season. A lot of these veteran players, I got the tapes. They don't even play in the preseason. Not a snap. And then the season starts, and we're going to play 2 games in 5 days? What kind of logic is that? I mean, that's tough. Who does it favor on a short week early in the season? Does it favor Green Bay? They're at home. They have the youngest roster in the league. They should be able to recover better. Yes? Or does it favor the Washington Commanders, the oldest team in the league? These guys don't need as much preparation. Maybe they could just jump on the field and communicate and play at a higher level because of their experience. There's a lot to think. But again, both of these teams are sore. They played a full game just on Sunday, and now they're being asked to strap it on again. So we got to take a look at the health of both teams. Green Bay has not done particularly well on Thursday night football. They've only won 2 of their last 5, and Washington has lost 3 in a row. So I think both of these teams feel the same way about Thursday night football as I do. Don't like it unless it's Thanksgiving. I would expect on a short week like this, I would expect a lot of no-huddle offense. I think a lot of the preparation for this game was done in training camp. I think both offenses are going to jump the ball and try to put these defenses under siege in a short week. Keep an eye on that. You know, in Green Bay, they're always talking about the Lambeau leap. I was there when Leroy Butler invented it. He jumped into the stands after a score on defense. We called it the Lambeau leap. For Washington, it's the Lambeau weep. They've lost 6 straight games, man, in Lambeau Field. I don't care if you're talking about the Redskins, the Commanders, or the football team. Whatever the hell they are, 6 straight losses. They have not won in Lambeau since 1988. That's when my friend Doug Williams was quarterbacking with Joe Gibbs. Think about that, Washington fans. We need to exercise that demon. This game features the Washington Commanders, who were an unbelievable transformation last year. They went from 4 wins to 14 wins. They went to the NFC Championship game last year for the first time since 1991. And now they've reassembled their roster to go to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. They've added a lot of veteran players, particularly on defense. They have a lot of guts, this Washington team. During that 7-game winning streak last year, 5 of them they won on the last play of the game. So this is a gutty, gritty football team. The Packers, 11-6 a year ago, they were swept by Philadelphia, Detroit, Minnesota. I think they were ticked off. They went into the offseason, made the big Micah Parsons trade, and I believe the Packers are going all in to get to the Super Bowl themselves. There's a lot at stake. Hell, DraftKings, who sponsors this show, picks Green Bay and Washington as the favorites to win the Super Bowl after Philadelphia. So everybody thinks a lot of these teams. This game features the young guns, Jaden Daniels for the Commanders at quarterback and Jordan Love of the Packers. Very similar passing statistics last year. Daniels had 35-68, and Jordan Love in an injury-plagued season had 33-89. 25 touchdowns, 9 picks for Daniels, 25 touchdowns, 11 picks for Jordan Love. Very similar passing statistics, but obviously it's Daniels' legs that are the story here. 891 yards rushing, 600 of those yards came on scrambles. That means he's under siege back here, probably going to get sacked. Whoop, nope, wrong. He can scramble and crush you. 47 sacks, however, were taken by Daniels. That's one of the reasons why they changed their offensive line. Jordan Love only ran for 83 yards and a touchdown last year, only sacked 14 times. It's a credit to him and this Packer offensive line. I think they need more from Daniels' legs this year than they got last year if they're going to go to the Super Bowl. These are 2 of the best vertical passing teams in football. You actually see routes tonight. Guys running down the field, across the field. They do a hell of a job pushing the ball, both young quarterbacks. The cool story for me is the battle of runners in this game. The Packers have Josh Jacobs, the ex-Raider, a battering ram. I mean, this guy scored a touchdown in 10 straight games. 1,400 yards last year. They're going to hammer the ball between the tackles with Jacobs. He can brandish you with a stiff arm. This guy's tough. And he's got to go up against Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner, 2 of the great linebackers you will see. That alone is worth the price of admission. And keep in mind, Washington went out and signed a bunch of run-stuffing defensive linemen just for this game. So Josh Jacobs, as good as he is, will have his hands full against the Commanders. And what a story that's going on in Washington. I remember John Riggins, don't you, Jake? The Diesel. Well, last year they had Brian Robinson, their leading rusher. 3 straight years they traded him to San Francisco. So I ask you, who is their leading rusher? Who is their go-to guy now? Well, his name is a name for all you fantasy football owners out there. His name is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Who? Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He just likes to be called Bill. I love this guy. This is my favorite guy in the league right now. Who is this Bill? This guy was at Alabama State. He transfers to New Mexico. Then he goes to Arizona. He plays 1 game, and they suspend him for eligibility purposes. I don't know. But he stays at Arizona, and he's on the scout team. This guy loves football. And now He is the go-to back for the Washington Commanders. Believe it. He had 82 yards rushing last week and 10 carries. He put the game away in the fourth quarter, coming off their own goal line. What's his name, Jake?
Bill.
No, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. We're going to call him Bill. And he's going up against the freaking Green Bay Packers, man. Quay Walker and my guy, Edgerrin Cooper, number 56. The Edge of Darkness. I love this guy. So, Bill, good luck. And then we have the Micah Parsons Project. Just a week ago, 2 first-rounders were sent to Dallas, and here comes Micah Parsons teaming up with Rashawn Gary, another very good pass rusher, and they're going up against the remodeled Washington Commander offensive line. They went out and got Laramie Tunsil, multi-year Pro Bowler at left tackle, and they drafted Josh Connerly in the first round to play the right tackle position. So we get to see the Micah Parsons Project against Tunsil and Connerly, a heavyweight match as well. You guys like this? Knock on a grease board, man. Shit, this is a good one. Lastly, kickers. The Packers have Brandon McManus, who was signed at midseason last year. Hell, I don't think he's missed a kick since. This guy has been awesome. And unbelievably, the Washington Commanders have changed kickers again. They had 4 kickers last year. And now they got a new kicker, Matt Gay, who comes over from the Indianapolis Colts. Keep an eye on that. The injury report is not so good for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, their starting corner, Nate Hobbs, a man they signed from the Raiders, gave a lot of money to, did not play last week. Don't think he's going to play this week. Keep an eye on that. 2 offensive linemen for Green Bay got hurt in that game against Detroit and did not finish. Aaron Banks, left guard, came out of the game in the third quarter, did not return. And Zach Tom, one of the best right tackles in the NFL, who they just gave a lot of money to, he didn't finish the game at right tackle. So you have 2 big-time linemen who may not play against this Washington Commander defense. And that's not good in a short week. Trust me. In the receiving corps for Green Bay, they were limited in the game against Detroit. They had some injuries in training camp. Now, Jaden Reed played well, but he only played about 30 snaps. Dontavion Wicks, he still has the calf problem. Hell, Savion Williams, their rookie, he only played a couple snaps against the Lions. And I just saw Matthew Golden's a little beat up with an ankle. I'm worried about the health of these Packer receivers against these bump and run corners of the Washington Commanders, because they got some guys that get up in your grill. The conditions should be perfect. 60 degrees, no rain, Lambeau Field. Let's get a bratwurst and a beer. Let's unpack this game. Let's go. This offense and defensive matchup is brought to you by Fox One. On Fox One, you stream your favorite live sports. So you never miss that "did you see that" moment. That means Fox NFL Sundays are on Fox One. It's NFL Sundays, all streaming live, the way football was meant to be watched. Start your 7-day free trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, we live for live. Okay, the Green Bay Packer offense against this Washington Commander defense. There's some really cool matchups in this one. When you look at Matt LaFleur, the play caller of the Green Bay Packers, you're talking about one of the most creative offensive minds in football. But what I love about Green Bay is the continuity that they have had. Same head coach, same play caller, same quarterback, same skilled receivers. That really should help Green Bay on a short week, putting it all together. I expect Matt LaFleur to be more aggressive this year than he's ever been before. I think we said it last week. Look for LaFleur to go for it on 4th down. What did he do last week at the plus 15 at the end of the game, Jake?
Went for it.
Yeah, he knocked Detroit out. Aggressive Matt LaFleur. I think that'll show up again on Thursday night. You're going to see him go for it on 4th down. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Malik Willis. I said it before. Their backup quarterback. He could come in some short yardage situations, some tight red zone situations. They might have a Taysom Hill-like plan for Malik Willis. Another thing I think he has in the bag. They're going to take some shots. Last week they used the Wildcat. You see Love underneath the center. He starts moving around here, and they snap the ball to Jacobs. This guy has a lot of creativity, and he will push the ball vertically if his receivers are healthy. But expect him to be aggressive. Secondly, balance is the hardest thing to defend in pro football. If you can run it, and you can throw it, and you can run it inside and out, and you can throw quick passes, play action passes, if you can do it all, you are really hard to defend. That's what I love about Green Bay. It's a 50-50 operation between the run and the pass. The ball distribution is excellent. They throw it to all the receivers. They throw it to the running backs. They got a go-to tight end in Kraft. You don't know who's getting the ball, when he's getting the ball, and how he's getting the ball. It's one of the beauties of this Packers system. This offense is all about the quarterback, Jordan Love. I said it before, Jake. Aaron Rodgers was 27 when he won his Super Bowl in Green Bay. Brett Favre was how old, Clay?
27.
And how old is Jordan Love soon to be? 27 years old. Jordan Love is an excellent drop-back passer. I mean, this guy can throw the ball from awkward platforms as good as anybody. He's healthy. Remember, he hurt the knee, he hurt the groin, he hurt the thumb in training camp. This man is healthy now, and it showed last week. What I love about Love is what he did last week against the Lions. He walked up to the line of scrimmage, 3 receivers on his right. He recognized man-to-man. Then he started communicating a hand signal to shred that coverage, and then he dropped back to pass, and he put the Lions away. RCE. He recognizes defense. He has a litany of things that he can communicate, and with his arm, he can take you to high levels of execution. I love the progress of Love at this point in his career, and teaming up with Matt LaFleur, I think it could be a devastating combination. Love it. Got to keep an eye on Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft, if you're a Washington Commander and you're going to play all this man-to-man, that's great, because you have Lattimore, Sainris still, you got Trey Amos, you got the guys to do it. But who covers Tucker Kraft? This guy is a problem after the catch, and he can run some really cool routes that most tight ends don't run. The play-action pass is big. The deep ball design is really cool in Green Bay. You might see Dobbs start across the field, stick his foot in the ground, and run to the opposite pylon. You see little change of speed routes. You see it all with this Packer receiving core. It's fun to watch. The offensive line injuries are a big key in this game and a huge concern for the Packers. Zach Tom, their starting right tackle, and Aaron Banks, their left guard, got huge money to come to Green Bay and stay in Green Bay. They're both hurt. We don't know if they're going to play in this football game, so we got to take a good look at the help system. Or does it impact us in terms of how we play this game, play call-wise? We got to look at that. And finally, what are we going to do, Packers, with these young receivers? Matthew Golden. He had a catch or two last week, but this young man out of Texas, he can haul ass, man. He is grease lightning. He can run like a 4.28. I look for something Thursday from Matthew Golden. And Savion Williams, I believe he is a joker. You can line him up in a lot of different positions, just like he did in college. All he did was catch a little jet sweep last week. I think they got to try to get these two young guys rolling. For the Washington Commanders, this is a team that was a top 3 pass defense last year, and they were the 30th ranked rushing defense. So what did Dan Quinn do? Ask me, Clay.
What did he do?
Well, he went out and he got some defensive linemen that are run-stuffing, freaking, I don't know, I call them body snatchers. They take the tackle, boom, they get rid of them, and they make the tackle. They got some guys now that can really help this run defense. Eddie Goldman, Dietrich Wise, Javon Kinlaw. They brought in some big dudes, man, that should help keep the linebackers clean and also stuff some of these inside runs. They use a lot of defensive line movement. So if you're an outside shoulder of the guard tackle on defense, we call it a 3 technique. Snap of the ball, pop, he slants inside. You might see the nose tackle line up on the snapping hand of the center. The ball snapped, kaboom, he goes this way. A lot of movement from this defensive line. Now, last year, defensive coordinator Joe Witt played about 85% nickel. How many defensive backs are in nickel, Clay?
5.
5. The reason they did that, they probably didn't have the girth, the strength, the size guys up front to play a base defense. So they played 85% nickel. Well, that's probably a good reason why they were 30th in the league against the run. Sorry for talking like that. But you don't have to be a genius. Now, I watch him open up the game against the New York Giants. I couldn't wait to see what Dan Quinn was up to. They played a base defense on the first play. Boom! They knocked the Giants out, man. They had Goldman at the nose, Deron Payne at the 3 technique. Here, Dietrich Wise. I mean, this guy's like a monster. Former New England Patriot over there. They had Kinlaw, and they have this other guy, number 55, Jacob Martin, the ex-Chicago Bear. They smashed the New York Giants. I mean, Russell Wilson had 40 yards scrambling, but when you watch Way and you watch Scadaboo run the ball against this defense, not happening. These guys were really good last week. It was impressive, very impressive. All 3 levels now of this Washington Commander defense should be very good. The D-line, and how about the linebacking duel? How about these linebackers, Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu? I mean, how does Bobby Wagner do this? He's their leading tackler last year with 132. He's 35 years old. He's so instinctive. And now they have the guys up front to keep him clean, Jake. That's a really good deal. And Frankie Louvu, is there a more versatile linebacker in football? Probably not. He can put his hand down and rush the passer. He had 8 sacks. He can play a standard linebacker position, very effective against the run. And in coverage, he can play the pass. These are 2 of the best linebackers you will see Thursday night against the Packers. And you know what I love about the defense the most? Is their corners. Marshawn Lattimore was a disappointment last year. I heard everybody, oh, he's got too many penalties. Oh, A.J. Brown beat him. Well, hell's bells. The guy had a hurt hamstring. I saw Lattimore. He's wearing number 2, playing every preseason game. He's determined to show us all he is a badass. He's still a badass. 4-time Pro Bowler. And then they get this rookie, Trey Amos, out of Ole Miss. You talk about an impressive bump and run corner, 6'1", 195, runs 4.4, patient technique. That's 2. And they got Mike Sainris still, number 0, second-round pick a year ago out of Michigan, who led the team in passes broken up. They got 3 really good bump and run corners. So let's keep an eye on the matchups here in just a second. I will say this about the Commanders. You can only measure your defense against the top-ranked offenses. I try to say that every year. You know, last year they were number 3 against the pass. We know that. But they went up against Dallas's backup Cooper Rush. The Saints played Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler in their first game, basically. Trey Lance, Will Levis. Hell, Kenny Pickett played the whole game against Washington when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, and Mike Penix was only making his 2nd or 3rd start. Well, now, showtime, prime time. They get a chance to showcase their stuff to the Green Bay Packers in front of the world. You love that, Jake?
Love it.
I do too. Keep an eye on Kraft. You can play man-to-man with these 3 great corners, but I'm an owl. Who has Kraft? You better be careful of Kraft. That guy's a pain in the ass. They got to plaster in coverage. Very important. What that means is you stick with your man sometimes 5 or 6 seconds, because Jordan Love, even though he doesn't run for yards, he keeps it alive, man, and he can throw the ball behind his back, through his legs. This guy has some of the greatest off-platform throws I've ever seen. The key for me for the Washington Commanders is how much pressure can they get on 3rd down and in 2-minute drills with this front, without the blitzes. How much pressure can we get? We lost Dante Fowler. He left the Commanders to go back to Dallas. He had 10.5 sacks last year. So it's going to come down to Dorrance Armstrong, who's playing really well. They added Von Miller, the ex-Buffalo Bill, but we got to keep an eye on this pass rush. Can they exploit these backup linemen of the Green Bay Packers if they play? Must bat some balls down. That's a big issue as well. Assume the ball's coming out quick. We got some injuries up front. Deron Payne batted 2 of them last week against the Giants. We need to get another ricochet incomplete or ricochet interception. Let's look at the matchups. I think it all starts up front. Make a note of the Green Bay Packer offensive line. Rasheed Walker, 63, is the left tackle. Now at left guard, who's it going to be? Aaron Banks, the ex-49er, got a lot of money to be the left guard. He got hurt, and in came Jordan Morgan. And Morgan was a first-round pick 2 years ago out of the University of Arizona. So Morgan potentially could start at left guard. They moved Elton Jenkins from guard to center when they got Aaron Banks. He played solid again last week. Sean Ryan is the right guard, but keep an eye on the right tackle. Zach Tom, number 50, came out of that game. He's got an oblique problem. And they put in Darian Kennard, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles. He went in there and played right tackle, did okay. But let's see what the Washington Commanders do to exploit that matchup. The Commanders' defensive line has a lot of depth. Last year they had no depth. They got a lot of depth this year, and it shows. They have Deron Payne at defensive tackle. 2022, he had a freaking unbelievable year. He had 11.5 sacks, 20 quarterback hits. He was phenomenal. Been kind of quiet the last couple years. But against the Giants, he stood out. He jumped off the film. He had a sack, tackle for loss, 4 tackles. His pursuit was excellent. I look for Deron Payne to go find this backup guard, perhaps Jordan Morgan of the Packers. That's a matchup they want to exploit. The guy that's playing great for Washington outside of Payne is number 92, Armstrong. What a game he had against the Giants. They move him around a lot. Dan Quinn did it with Parsons, and he does it a lot with Dorrance Armstrong. He had a great game last week against the New York Giants. They have Von Miller coming in on passing situations. Von didn't do much. He played 28% of the plays against the Giants. He had 6 sacks as a Buffalo Bill last year, but this is this year. And Von Miller, he's not getting any younger, but they do need him to get off the ball and use his veteran savvy, probably over here against Kennard, the backup right tackle. That'll be a matchup to look for. They also have number 99, Javon Kinlaw, playing defensive tackle. This is a monster. Former first-round pick of the 49ers, 6'5", 320 pounds. He gets off the bus and you go, holy shit, we got to play that guy? This guy's impressive. Quiet in San Francisco, just 5 sacks in 4 years. He was drafted by Peters, the GM of the Commanders, when Peters was with the 49ers. I'm sure Dan Quinn, an ex-defensive line coach, said, hey, let me work with this guy. He had 2.5 sacks, 20 solos for the Jets last year, but I think Kinlaw could be a big part of the Washington success story this year. He is a hell of a talent. And the other defensive end is this Dietrich Wise, number 91. I don't like Wise. I love him. 30 sacks in 8 or 9 seasons in New England, but you should see this guy run after the ball. He plays with passion, physicality, and he has versatility. I really like him. But it's the depth that they have now with Eddie Goldman, a guy that can come in there and body snatch and stop the run. Jerzon Newton, second-round pick from Illinois last year, he had 44 tackles. He's another guy, number 95, that can kick some ass. So they have some different fronts, different stunts, and different alignments to really give the Packers problems. And now, let's talk about Josh Jacobs in this Packer running game. He does it all. He can run inside, outside. He picked up a couple blitzes flush against the Lions. This guy's a great back. They love to feature him early in the football game. And when they start getting him rolling, it's the play-action passes where they fake it to Jacobs that makes this offense go. And he's got a chance tonight to go up against 2 of my favorite linebackers of all time. And I love linebackers. But if you don't love Bobby Wagner, you don't love football. This guy is an all-time badass in the league. I mean, he is so instinctive. I don't know how he does it. He finds the guy with the ball, and he plays with incredible effort. He is the heart and soul of the Washington Commanders. And Frankie Louvu, think of this, Jake. In the last 3 years, there's one guy in pro football to have over 250 tackles and 20 sacks. Who is it? Frankie Louvu. I don't know how he does it. He had 8 sacks last year, partly because he plays defensive end in a third down pass rush situation. Then he's a linebacker. He can cover. He's a Pro Bowl badass. 2 of my favorite linebackers, excellent blitzers, excellent tacklers against one of my favorite runners. I drafted him, by the way. Wasn't all bad draft picks. Anyways, that's a hell of a matchup. On the outside, you got to take a look at this. The Packer receivers are beat up. We've already said that. Ankles, calves, limited practice field, reps. Romeo Doubs is healthy. He got a big chunk play last week against the Lions, and when he lines up on his left, you're going to see Marshawn Lattimore wearing number 2 of the Commanders. I've always liked this guy, Lattimore. He's a badass, man. I've seen the Saints. I used to go up there when I was fired, you know. I'd go up and watch the Saints. He's a hell of a player. He's really pissed off playing with an edge right now, I think, because he didn't play well last year. But he is really physical, he's healthy, and he's got a lot of confidence and swagger. On the other side is this guy, Trey Amos. I don't know where they find these corners in the second round. 6'1", 195, really beautiful technique. He uses his hands, he's patient, he's not afraid to go up and challenge you, he can quick jam you, he can recover, he's got the ability to find the ball in the blind spot. I really like Trey Amos, and he's going to get some matchups against Matthew Golden, who's wearing number 0. Did you see that number 0? What do you guys think about number 0? I hate that number 0. God, why did I get so upset? Anyways, Golden can haul ass and fly. I got to see Golden against Amos, the 2 rookies at crunch time making a name for themselves. That'll be big. And in the slot, Jaden Reed is the do-it-all Ginsu knife of the Packers. They'll put him in motion, and he'll get behind the quarterback, and hell, he'll catch passes out of the backfield. They'll hand him the ball on jet sweeps. He is nursing a foot problem, but he is clearly option number 1 in this Packer offense. And he's going up against Mike Sainristil, 5'9", 182-pound nickel corner of the Commanders. I love Sainristil. This guy right here reminds me a lot of a Rondé Barber guy I used to coach in Tampa. Tough. 90 tackles last year. This guy loves the briar patch. He's got ball skills, 14 passes broken up, 2 interceptions. That matchup in the slot will be really cool. And again, who is going to take out Tucker Kraft of the Packers? This is the guy. If you match up on the outside with Amos, Sainristil, and you have Lattimore, if you can cancel out these receivers, fine. You still got to deal with Kraft. Can Will Harris, the former New Orleans Saint, wearing number 3 in man-to-man situations, can he cover Tucker Kraft? We'll find out. Good player, Harris, been around the league. And then their other safety is Quan Martin. He's got some instincts and range. He's a good tackler, and they don't give up a lot of big plays, which is what I like. Luke Musgrave is another tight end, number 88. Former second-round pick. He's had some injuries. He's healthy. And I expect Musgrave to start exploding onto the scene. The Packers used 3 different tight ends last week. Kraft played 44 snaps, Musgrave played 17, and young John Fitzpatrick played 15 snaps. So does Green Bay utilize all these tight ends and try to keep Washington in a base defense? That will be interesting. The Packers on offense against the Commanders on defense. Some critical matches up front and some interesting matches on the perimeter. Can't wait for this. Okay, the Washington Commander offense against the Green Bay Packer defense. Man, I'm sweating. I haven't even talked about this yet. This is awesome. You got Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator of the Commanders. Last year, they were awesome in just about every statistical category with the rookie quarterback phenom, Jaden Daniels. 28.5 points a game. They had 370 yards a game, 154 yards rushing, yards per game. They were great in the red zone, 63% touchdown, great on third down, 46% conversions. Hell, they converted 87% on fourth down. That's the best ever. So they were in the top 5 or 6 every offensive category that there is. And the Green Bay Packers, led by their defensive coordinator, Mark Halfley, what a job they did last year. They became a top 10 defense, and now I think they're even better. Yes, the addition of Micah Parsons, but it's the second year in Jeff Halfley's system, and they take the ball away, man. 31 times last year. They got Goff last week in the red zone, game-changing interception. So you got a very good offensive coordinator, Kingsbury, very good defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, and there's a lot of really good players these guys get to coach. Let's take a look at Washington on offense. They got to clean things up on this short week. Yeah, they won 21-6 last week. They had 12 penalties, and a lot of those penalties were on offense. False starts, jumping off sides, holding calls, not good. They dropped some passes, and Jaden surprisingly missed some throws. They've got some new receivers they're working in. They were off, and they took a wasted timeout, I thought, as well. They got to clean things up to win this game on a short week on the road. They finally have stability at quarterback. Hell, my brother coached for Washington. They had Kirk Cousins. He won a championship. The next year, they lost him, but they got a compensatory third-round pick for him. What the hell were they doing, man? They had to go to Alex Smith. They brought in Haskins, Case Keenum. They brought in Sam Howell, Henneke. Now they got the man, Jaden freaking Daniels. And what a performer he is. And he's playing on a rookie contract. That has allowed the Commanders financially to go get some pieces on defense. Go get a Laramie Tunsil at left tackle. Hey, let's bring in Deebo Samuel. So they have really gone all in, I think, to win it all this year. And I applaud them for that. I freaking got chills right now. Woo! I don't even have a job. They're very creative on offense. I've always loved Kingsbury's system. You'll see an unbalanced line one play. No backs the next with quads, 4 receivers to the wide side of the field. You'll see wildcat formations, really weird shotgun pistol formations where you might have 2 tight ends standing right in front of each other, right behind a guard. Like, what the hell formation is that? Kingsbury really does a great job giving defenses things they've never seen before. And I learned a long time ago, if you haven't seen it, you can't prepare for it. They also have a lot of plays that start out looking the same, but they're different. That's a great trait to have as an offense. They're balanced just like the Packers are. They can run the ball with an array of different schemes, a ton of schemes. And they can throw the ball with the best of them because they got the quarterback, they got the tight end, and they got scary freaking Terry McLaurin. And now you've added Deebo Samuel to the mix. This is a fun operation to watch. They make you defend every blade of grass. Think about it. You're standing on a football field. You look east to west. You look, is that horizontal, Jake?
Yes.
This is horizontal. They'll throw a bubble screen to Deebo. They'll throw a wide flare to Austin Eckler, and you got to run to the ball or these guys will crease you. And then once you start loading the box, they'll throw it over your head because scary Terry McLaurin had 13 touchdown catches in a regular season, 3 more in the playoffs. They'll attack you vertically. They'll attack you horizontally. It's fun to watch. We must avoid the hits on Jaden Daniels. My only concern with this offense is the hits that Jaden Daniels is taking. I don't like when the quarterback runs to his left. Watch this tonight if you're watching the game. Every time you run to the left, you can't protect your right shoulder. Hell, Bill Walsh would never let Joe Montana run a bootleg to his left for that reason. The quarterback can't play with a sore right shoulder or a sore right elbow. We cannot take these hits. That's the only thing that bothers me. He took too many hits last week. His running style, he's got to be more conservative in my opinion. Get down on the ground, man. We need you for another 15 years. This is a precious piece of cargo. We got to avoid the hits on Daniels. This is an offense that likes no-back sets. They're famous for using no-back sets. I call it empty. They've emptied out the backfield. 14% of the time last year, Washington is in an empty backfield set. That's 3rd in the league, so the Packers got to be ready to have an attack. Do they blitz that formation? Do they check to a maximum zone? That'll be a big strategic part of the game. And the Commanders are in the shotgun a ton. 77% of the time, it's a shotgun operation, and they have some really good play-action passes from the gun, unlike most teams. Penalties we talked about, got to clean them up. false starts, holding calls. You do not want to fall behind in the down and distance on the road in the noise against this Packer pass rush. Let's clean it up and play mistake-free football. When you watch Mark Hafley's defense, the biggest compliment I could give him and his assistant coaches is they play their ass off, just like the Commanders. Both of these defenses, you could make a training reel showcasing what effort really looks like. And that's a skill that takes no talent for all you young football players. Bust your ass, man. Play to the whistle. It's really a credit to these guys. They're very good tacklers. Last week, Jahmyr Gibbs, perhaps the most dangerous running back coming out of the backfield, had 19 touches for 50 yards, man. 10 catches for 30 yards. That's impossible. These guys made some unbelievable open field tackles, and that's what they're going to have to do against Deebo Samuel and Jaden Daniels. The tackling, the effort, it's got to be there. But what's really exciting about Green Bay, I call it the steam that's in the scheme. You see, if you don't have the steam rushing the passer, you got no scheme. I mean, if you have to blitz to get a pressure on the quarterback, good luck. I'll get you a Hallmark card. But now the steam is back in the Packers scheme. So when they do stop the run and get you in 2nd and 9 or 3rd and 10, good God, they have some beasts that can get after your ass. The steam is back in the scheme. That's important. How do they deal with their rush package? The Packers showed their cheetah package last week. They call it a cheetah package. They put 3 defensive ends out there. Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, Parsons, and Devontae Wyatt, the big defensive tackle. And they really got after Jared Goff. Sacked him 4 times, really screwed the game up. But can you cut it loose against Jaden Daniels? Probably not. I think you're going to see some more stunts. You might even see a guy like Edgerrin Cooper spying on the quarterback. We got to stop Daniels from scrambling. Let me tell you about this, Jake. This is a problem. When the pass rush is going this way to get after the quarterback and the zone coverage guys are dropping that way, there's a void in the defense. And Daniels feels that. He senses the zone coverage. He dips, ducks, dodges, and he gets through there and he runs for first downs, and it is backbreaking for a defense. How do they deal with rushing Jaden Daniels? That'll be one of my favorite things to look for in this game. It's going to be a completely different game plan on a short week. The Packers are not going to play this Commander offense like they played the Lions. A lot of people might be sitting at home thinking, well, we shut down the Lions. They average 33 points a game. We'll shut down the Commanders. Bullshit. You're seeing a completely different operation coming to town from Washington. So we got to adjust. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to use a cloud technique against Terry McLaurin, the great receiver of the Washington Commanders. What is a cloud? Well, a cloud is when a wide receiver like Terry, scary Terry, lines up out here, and this corner rotates, jams him on the line of scrimmage. You just cover the flat, and we'll put a safety over the top. We got to reroute and stuff Terry McLaurin. Take him away. Make somebody else beat us, because that is the most feared deep ball receiver in pro football. Got to have a plan for Terry McLaurin. Let's take a look at the matchups. There's a lot of changes on this Washington Commander offensive line. New left tackle, new left guard, new right guard, and a new right tackle from last year. That's a huge issue to keep an eye on with 2 games in just 4 or 5 days. The new left tackle is Laramie Tunsil. We all know about the Pro Bowls. He's had a hell of a run as a pro football player. Great pass protector, but he did lead the NFL in penalties last year. 19 penalties, 12 of them were false starts. So keep an eye on that in the noise. Brandon Coleman moved from left tackle to left guard. He started 12 games at left tackle last year, so now he's working with Tunsil. That's a brand new blind side for Jaden Daniels. They have the best center, arguably, in the game. Tyler Biadasz is arguably the best center in football. He's a great communicator. You see him making the calls, and he is really athletic. You'll see even on some of these wide zones, he'll pull to block the inside linebackers. Biadasz, 63, is a hell of a player. Love him. The right guard, Nick Algretti, he played left guard last year. So he's a new starter at this position. Keep an eye on that. And their right tackle is a 21-year-old rookie, Josh Connerly from Oregon, their first-round pick. He's got talent. He got edged a couple times and gave up a sack last week against Brian Burns. Look for him to get some help. They'll put it back over there to Nudge or Chip. But Connerly against Micah Parsons or Rashawn Gary, that could be an issue for the Commanders in passing situations. But 4 new starters on the line, and they're going up against a really good front of the Packers. Inside, they're led by Devontae Wyatt, former first rounder out of Georgia. He wears number 95. He's an ass kicker. I think his playing stamina's improved. He had a big sack last week against the Lions. And they got Carl Brooks, number 94, backing him up. He's a solid pro, good against the run and the pass. They traded Kenny Clark, starting nose tackle, to the Cowboys in the Parson trade. And I thought Corey Wooden, number 96, and this rookie, Nazir Stackhouse. Wait till you see the size of this guy. Where the hell do they find these players at? He came out of Georgia. He's undrafted. But keep an eye on 96 and 93. Those are their run defenders. And on the edge, they've got some really good edge players. Obviously, Micah Parsons, he played 30 snaps last week. Remember that. He has some back issues. He's learning a new defense. This is a short week. They played him at right end, left end. Hell, they played him over the center. It's like a Where's Waldo. I'll show you that here in a minute. But Parsons, over here against Connerly, the rookie, could be one to watch. Rashawn Gary had a sack and a half last week. He had a can of whoop-ass, man. This guy played great. He's an outstanding Green Bay Packer, number 52. But when you look at Gary and Parsons, these are very, very problematic players for Washington. Kingsley Enagbare and this Luke Van Ness, former first-round pick out of Iowa. Van Ness comes in their cheetah package when they use 3 defensive ends. He had 4 pressures last week and a half of a sack. He will not stop, man. This guy's relentless. I love his motor. But a lot of good players and a lot of depth against a lot of change up front for Washington on a short week. Early in the season could be a problem. The linebackers for the Packers are the strength of this team, and they got to go up against an obscure, no-name running back. The greatest story in this game to me is the feature back of the Washington Commanders. We all know Austin Eckler, who played 49% of the snaps last week, is a hell of a player. Undrafted himself. He had 6 carries, 26 yards, caught 3 passes. He's a badass. He can pick up blitzes, very good in the passing game. But the guy that's emerging, the guy that's becoming the story, is this Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt guy. What do we call him? Bill! I love this guy. 10 carries, 82 yards, and he's going to have a chance to run behind this remodeled offensive line against Quay Walker, the leading tackler of the Packers, and the edge of darkness, Edger and Cooper, number 56, a truly rising star in this league. You'll love 56 and 7. The way that these guys play the game, the effort and the intensity is excellent. They also have Isaiah McDuffie, who comes in number 58. He had almost 100 tackles last year in their base defense. They have 3 really good linebackers. But keep an eye on Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. What do we call him? Bill. And it's all about how do we stop Daniels. You know, you talk about Daniels, his dual threat, his 900 yards rushing, 3,600 yards passing. You know what I love about Daniels the most, Clay? I like the fact that he is clutch. Man, when the game's on the line inside of 4 minutes in the fourth quarter, he threw 6 touchdown passes. He won games for him. I mean, this guy loves the pressure. He never flinches either. You know, a lot of guys like me, I get nervous. I'm like, this guy's calm as a cucumber, man. This guy's a freaking badass. He is at his best when shit is on the line. And I love that about Jaden Daniels. So, you're dealing with an Iceman with rare dual threat abilities. But let's look at the matchups on the outside. Who is Daniels going to throw it to if they can't run the ball? Well, it's going to start with scary Terry McLaurin. He just got a lot of money, so he should be happy. They didn't get him the ball much last week, but in 3 games against the Green Bay Packers, Terry has 16 catches, 252 yards, and he scored a touchdown in all 3 games. They're going to get him the ball in prime time because they didn't get it to him last week. I expect him to be moving all over the field. Do you know that Scary Terry has 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons with 75 catches or more. Do you know I coached him in the Senior Bowl and didn't draft him? Ask me what I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
Obviously, not very much. What a dumbass. Great guy, great player. Got to stop him. And who is it going to be? At corner out here, they expected Nate Hobbs, the ex-Raider, to come to town. They gave him a lot of money. He did not play against the Lions. It was Corrington Valentine, number 24. And Green Bay used a lot of split safety looks to try to disguise coverages. And Valentine is going to be a very important story in this game, how they stop scary Terry McLaurin. On the other side at wide receiver, they're going to see Noah Brown, probably number 85, very good player for the Washington Commanders who's had some knee injuries. And at the left corner for Green Bay, I look for Keyshawn Nixon, another ex-Raider who's also a very good return man. Nixon can play outside, he can play inside, but because of the injuries, Nixon's going to have to deal, I think, with the outside corner position Thursday night. And then the big battle is going to be in the slot. The Washington Commanders, they get tired of people doubling Terry McLaurin, so they get Deebo Samuel, the ex-San Francisco 49er. And I'm telling you, this guy weighs 220 pounds right now, man. He doesn't look like a wideout. He's got about 8% body fat. God, I wish I looked like him. The guy is an outstanding joker. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. They put him at running back. They motion him into the backfield. Last week, he had 7 catches, 77 yards. He carried it on a 19-yard touchdown, and he returned 2 kickoffs, so he touched it 10 times. You know, in San Francisco, the guy had almost 10,000 yards receiving and 1,200 yards rushing. This is one of the all-time tough, hard-nosed, hard-to-tackle receivers in football, and Washington is committed to creatively using him in their game plan. So that matchup between Deebo Samuel and second-year man Javon Bullard, number 20, I love that matchup. Bullard, he went up against Amon-Ra St. Brown last week a few times. Didn't win every time, but he has no conscience. This is a very versatile, tough-ass football player that can play in the slot. He can play outside. Hell, they'll play him at safety in their base defense. I like it. The other option for the Washington Commanders is Zach Ertz. He's a veteran tight end. He's played a long time. Last year, he was healthy for the entire season, 66 catches, had a big catch last week. They love Ertz on critical passing situations. Red zone, third down. Ertz is going to have to deal with Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams. McKinney had a lot of interceptions last year. He's a very good coverage man. And Evan Williams, outstanding young safety at reading a quarterback. He picked off Jared Goff last week. And these two safeties do a great job disguising coverage. Is it 2 deep? Is it 3 deep? Is it weak rotation? Strong rotation? Very good communicators. They look like they have a lot of savvy and expertise. But they got to be on top of Ertz, especially in the 2-minute drill, tight red zone, and third down. And the other tight end for the Commanders, if you're a Commander fan, buy this guy a beer for me. His name is John Bates, number 87. He does a lot of dirty work, pass protecting, leading on the counter plays, whamming defensive tackles. John Bates comes into the core, there's a good chance it's a running play. This guy does a great job. They have Ben Sinnott, number 82, another very good young tight end out of Kansas State. There's a lot to defend. Daniel's playmaking, Kingsbury's creativity. You got Bill, and you got Deebo, Terry, and Zach Ertz. Whew, this is going to be a hell of a football game. This is a tough one to pick. I mean, I want Green Bay. Hell, I used to coach there. But I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Jedi 5, they call them. He gave me these shoes, these recovery shoes. I know he feels good because even I feel good. This guy's a pleasure to watch. And I just think you're going to see one of the great high-effort games of the season. 23-20. Commanders find a way to win on the road.